lesson is modifier. So we're going to start with one that you might actually need for your project. Okay. So this one is called a Boolean operation. Okay. It's a modifier. So first, let's talk about modifier. You can get them right here on this tab where it looks like a wrench. And you're adding this in object mode. You don't add them in edit mode. Okay. If you go to that wrench right there, you see this add modifier panel. I am in drop down, and everything that can be applied to that object will be here. It's quite obvious in Blender. It's like object-oriented programming. If it's not something you can use, it'll be grayed out. All right, there's the Boolean operation. So if I click that, it adds a modifier to this object. If you don't have any, it should be blank right here. And these are stackable, meaning you can have multiple modifiers. And you can have, what do you call this? You can arrange their order because they do affect the stack differently. If you, let's say you added a taper and then you added a twist, so then it will taper it first, then twist it. As opposed to if you rearrange the order, if you put twist first, it will twist it, then taper it. So it will give you a different effect, okay? So it's in a way experimental at that point. If it's not happening the way you want it, then you can just rearrange your modifier. So the word itself, it says modifier. It modifies the object. Okay, so this is beyond us extruding and doing all that kind of stuff. And when you want to remove a modifier, you can click X right there. You can also temporarily turn it off, seeing it and actually getting it rendered. Okay, so you don't have to delete it. You can turn it off by clicking the turn off button right here. Okay, the display for it, and then the render. Okay, so I'm going to click X right there to get rid of it. So a Boolean operation, you need 2 objects minimum. Okay, so we'll make it a little bit obvious here. We're going to create another one. We're going to add a cylinder. I'm going to scale this cylinder. Then I'm going to scale it taller. So we know for sure it's intersecting with that object. Okay. I'm going to select both of these objects. I'm going to duplicate them. Send one over here. Duplicate it again. All right. So the very first one, we're going to do difference, union, and then intersection. All right. So in Boolean modifier, you always apply the modifier to the object you want to keep. What we want to do here is get this cube and then punch a cylindrical shape hole in the middle. That makes sense? Just kind of punch it in. All right. And then on this one, we want to combine the two together. And this one is intersect. Basically, we want to keep the object that's intersecting. What do you think the intersecting object between these two is? What does it look like? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a cylinder. It's a smaller cylinder, the size of the cube. All right? Because if that's what you take out here, that's what you'll get here. All right? So that's basically what it is. It's like a compound object manipulation, right? But first things first, let's apply the modifier. So we want to keep the cube, so we want to apply the modifier to the cube, not to the cylinder, okay? So I'm going to add the modifier, Boolean. We take a look, we have 3, difference, union, and intersect. We're going to do the difference. Why do we call it difference? What is difference anyway, the word difference? Where do we get that word? Other than there's a difference between yours and I's diet. No, we're not talking about that. What about in mathematics? Where do we get the word difference?
Subtract.
All right, it's from subtraction, right? So what is the answer for addition?
Minus cube.
No, for addition.
Plus.
Sum. All right, what about multiplication? All right, okay, I get it. It's a Bible. It's a Bible college, you know. We're out there to reach out. We're not here to fight about technical stuff. Okay, anyway. So difference, okay. All right. Difference right here. And then it says, hey, which object do you want to use for the intersection? right? What do we want to get rid of? So if I click here, I can actually pick. I didn't name this thing, so I don't know what that thing is called. Because remember, I copied from the center. I mean, it's most likely cylinder 02, because it's the last, But if you don't know, there's this eyedropper. So simply click the eyedropper and then click the one you want to take out right here. Once that thing is there, then we can see our. They kind of changed where the apply is, but this is new with the version 2.9. So let me see here. So it should generate a new object, but it looks like it didn't. All right, 02. There's no threshold. Apply. Okay. Let's see. There we go. You see it? All right. Well, I got caught off guard there because apply used to be a button. Now it's like a drop down. Okay. So I'm going to move this one here, and there's the difference. Okay. All right. So let's go to the next one. So I'm going to select this. That's the object I want to keep. Modifier Boolean. This one we're going to do union. Okay. I'm going to change that to union, and then eyedropper, click that, and it always leaves the other operator, by the way, okay? Because just in case, it'll make sense later. Let's say we want to cut a hole with 5 windows. If the window shape disappeared, then you have to recreate it. You got to make sure it's the same size as the other windows. That makes sense. That's why it leaves it behind, all right? So right here, union. I'm going to go down here and then click apply. All right. And then this should be a single piece right now. Okay. Let me go to wireframe and show you the difference. You see it? It's actually missing that. All right. But before we jump to the intersection, let me duplicate this and then move it over here. Because another way to join object is Control J, or just joining 2 objects. All right. To join 2 objects, you a Control J or object and join, or Command J or Control J. Okay. When I join the 2 objects together, look at the difference here. They look like it's the same, right? But once we go to wireframe, look at the difference. You see it? In union, it's actually clean. You don't get the center part. Here, it does not take out anything. It just joins the 2 together, but you still have the geometry in there. Okay, so that's the difference. So let me just get rid of this. And then last one that we're going to do is, of course, apply the modifier Boolean again. We're going to do the intersect. Okay, we're going to eyedrop what shape we want to intersect. It's obviously you already see it, and then you can move that about, if you want to reposition it. Then right here you're going to hit apply and then move it out, or move that there with precision. It would fit that one. All right, so that's Boolean operation. Let's put it into practical use. Okay, I'm going to go new. Let's say I want to create a wall. Okay. And I'm going to use my scaling right here to kind of build kind of like a wall like so. All right. And then after that, we want to add our object that we want to punch a hole in there. All right. Basically our cookie cutter. All right. So I'm going to, let's say these are those kind of tall wall-to-wall windows, okay? The only requirement here is this is your cookie cutter. You want it thicker than the wall, right? If this is slimmer than the wall, then you basically made a hole for the rats, right? There's a rat in the middle of the wall. You can't see it, all right? So make sure it's thicker than what it's actually cutting, right? Okay, so what we want to do here is, there are several ways I could actually make these things 3 times already. Okay, kind of like duplicate them and then arrange them like so. But we're not going to do that so that I can demo Boolean 3 times, okay? So it'll stick better, okay? And we want to apply the modifier to the object we want to keep, which is the wall, not the window shape, okay? Keep that in mind. I'm going to go to my modifier here, Boolean, its difference, okay? Eyedropper, this guy right here. All right, and then I'm going to hit down and apply. Okay, so if I go to my front viewport here, and I have the cookie cutter selected, I'm going to move it, let's say, right here. You see the hole already? Okay, there it is. Okay, so to make it obvious now that you could actually do this multiple times, so I'm going to do Command D to duplicate that one. Right-click cancel, move it to the right here. And I'm eyeballing this, all right? Can you imagine all the architects in the room like hey, how many units did you move it there? I just eyeballed it. Is it 0.6? Yeah, whatever. Just move it to the right, okay? But they can't do it, man. Yeah, there. So what I'm going to do with the two right here is I'm going to combine this, make them into one, right? If you remember, it's Command J or object join. Then now they're not one object, right? So then it can accelerate your Boolean process because I can then apply Boolean to the object I want to keep, which is the wall difference, and then I'm going to select those, hit apply, and let's say I do want to preserve them in case I want to get, I don't know, double refrigerators. Well, there it is. Okay? So that's Boolean operation for you. Okay, and then there's limitations though. If your cookie cutter is of complex shape, then you'll pay that price. Okay, or if you happen to hit a certain line or an edge, and it doesn't Boolean right, it's not always perfect, but simple stuff like this, it works pretty good. All right, so let's do one more. Semi-practical, okay? I wouldn't call this a practical example, semi-practical, all right? And then you have another one. Don't worry, it's all recorded. If you say, hey, Dane, you're too fast, then slow it down in YouTube. You know what to do. All right, so I'm going to go number 7 here at the top, and I'm going to go to my X-ray mode, meaning I can see through. But not only that, when I do my selection, let's say from the top, and I want to select the points right here, guess what? Everything else from the top to bottom gets selected. Okay, so that's the beauty of X-ray mode. Because if you're not in X-ray mode, you drag a rectangle at the top to select the top two. You don't select the bottom, then it's more work. Okay. All right. So what I want to do with this is simply do something kind of irregular, but you know I still want to kind of compress those, kind of like so. All right, and then move this one a little bit. And I'm using all my tools right here just so that you guys get to see what's happening. All right, there it is. Okay, I'm going to select all the points on top, kind of go like this, and then move that thing down. I'm going to go to my edge mode, select this edge. I'm going to right click and then bevel, or let's use the bevel tool right here. This one. Okay. While it's active though, that thing will always be on, so I'm going to bevel that real quick. So you see what happened? I just put 2 lines right there, and then you can expand that to multiple segments, but we don't want just one, right? So select that one. Bevel is still active, good. So be careful when you use these tools, they're alive, okay? Until you cancel them by going to the select tool. All right, there you go. So just kind of, all right. And then I'm going to select all the lines, so Alt click or Option click, selected all the edges, and then I'm going to bevel that as well. All right, so you can see here I'm just kind of, you know, so that there's no kind of solid lines. All right, there we go. Okay, I'm going to go back to my select tool, go back to non-X-ray mode. There it is. All right, so what do we want to do with this is we want to make a Swiss cheese out of this one.
Oh.
All right, so what do we use for Swiss cheesing this one? CDO. All right, so we need multiple sphere shape sizes, okay? So I'm going to go with UV sphere. It's very faceted, agree? It doesn't have enough resolution, right? So I'm going to double that with rings and segments over here. So I'm going to go with 64 and then rings of 32, okay? Keep in mind when you increase the resolution on Boolean, it keeps it, okay? Because if you have to apply another modifier, then you would lose that, okay? So to make it a little bit more obvious that this thing's going to be smooth, we're going to shade smooth it. It's a visual trickery that smooths out on the edge, right? And then this one, since this is our cookie cutter, we want to make variations of it, right? So I'm going to go to the top so we can easily visualize it. I'm going to go over here, press G to move it, and then I'm just going to kind of scale this so that it's not so round, okay? It's not so perfectly round. Just kind of knock it off a bit. And then what I'll do here is that number 7 is that I'm going to scale this one because I guess if you're a Swiss cheese maker, you want those things like that big so when people buy the slice and then you only gave them that much cheese, right? But anyway, all right, so we're going to put that in there. Then I'm going to duplicate this, scale this thing, and then kind of rotate it. Okay, so I'm kind of randomizing, those possibilities right there. And we can also rotate that from the top, from the front. Okay, so by doing this, I'm going to do one more, scale it up a bit. Just kind of randomizing it. Okay, that should be enough right there. Okay, then what I'll do is put them all in there. So get this one right there, probably a good one at the corner. All right, so for the front, we're going to put this probably right there, that one over there. The side, maybe the bottom. All right, so now we're going to duplicate these and then just kind of move them everywhere. Duplicate, scale. All right, so let's say we're very generous Swiss cheese seller because I'm lazy. I don't want to do this all day. I know, but I have OCD also, so I can't help it. I have to make it good. All right, so I'm being double lazy now. All right, good enough, right? It's yeah, you get the point. Okay, so we're gonna select the cheese. We want to keep it, right? Let's see. I'm gonna try and do something even lazier. You probably don't want to do this with your computer right now because they'll probably die. So, all right. So I'm gonna try and be lazy. I'm going to select all of these and combine them. So I just need to do it one time. But I'm gonna play it safe. I'm gonna save in case. Yeah, in case it doesn't happen. All right, just in case. All right. Okay, so Control J or Command J, they become one object. Select the cheese. Okay. Add your Boolean operation. Difference. Select those guys. Here goes nothing. Oh, I don't know if that worked, but let's see. Yay! Wow. All right, you can kind of see the imperfection, right? But I'll do smooth shade on this one. Ooh, didn't like that. Let me go with normal and auto smooth. All right, now we're back to business. Okay. That looks semi-good, all right? And I think it's Swiss cheese enough. Could work some more stuff, but Let me get rid of my cookie cutter. Okay. Let's serve this on a plate. Okay. So what I'll do with that is let's get a cylinder. Okay, that should be plenty okay with cylinder. Okay, we're going to scale it up. Go to one right here, and then we're going to make this one a little bit. There we go. I'm going to drop it down. Okay, so we're just going to put it on a little serving plate. Okay, and we can then adding material to this. Okay, for this one we can easily get wood texture, right? So let's go to our good friends at CZ0. All right, and then we're gonna say wood. And okay, what would be a good kind of serving? You know, that like fine grain wood or a chopping board wood. Okay, I'll go with this one. All right, so for our purpose, I'm just going to get PNG. PNG would be higher quality, folks, okay, than JPEG. JPEG is highly compressed, but it all depends on how far you are using them from the camera. If they're back wall, those are JPEG material, you know. When you do close-up, like what we're about to do, 4K PNG, where I'm going to click that. And our good friends from CZ0, thank goodness, you know, God bless them, they're doing this for free. This used to cost a lot of money to a lot of 3D artists, folks, and they're not even this high quality, and these folks are just, you know, it's happening. While that thing is going in there, I'm going to go with the cheese first. So this is something new. We haven't done this yet, okay? I'm going to apply. All right, I don't know your cheese, how you age them, all right? In Europe, man, they, especially the one with the flies, man, they're probably like this color right there. I mean, but you can't argue it. You know, it's good stuff. All right, so here's something new. Subsurface color, all right, and subsurface value. Subsurface, basically, it's what below the surface has sub, right, below it. This is a really nice technique that we use for anything that has some sort of translucency. Like you have subsurface.
Yeah.
All right.
Tips.
Yeah, like your ear. If I put a flashlight behind your ear, guess what you're going to see? It's kind of like looking at those eggs uh, if they fertilize. You know what I'm talking about? All right. If I put a light behind your ear, it's going to show your little blood vessels and whatnot. Same thing with the tip of your hand with your finger. When you go like this against the light, you see light pass through. We're a little bit translucent on the extremities. Agree? Okay? Well, you can't try it here because it'll prove you have a thick head. And then it's like, or they see through it like, wow, I always knew Dane didn't have much brain power. Now we know, you know. So anyway, that's what that is. So, but first thing is that we're gonna do the subsurface right here. Watch what happens to this one when I give it value. All right, it becomes a little bit more translucent. You see it right there? But we're not seeing the cheese inside because our color is still white. Okay? Guess what we're going to put this color if we want to do it for, let's say, humans or flesh. What's underneath? What's the color?
Red.
Red. It's blood, right? So not on this one, not unless you want to eat bloody cheese. I'm going to just drop the color right here. Okay, it's same. You can't change the you know. But when I go like this, we make it a little bit kind of transparent. Okay, there it is. It's more cheese looking. You see it? Before it looks solid. I give it some value. There you go. It's very translucent like. All right, so now let's take a look here. Let's my what do you call this? Wood download should be done. Okay, so I'm gonna click new right here. This is for the plate. Okay, and we don't want this too shiny. And go to my downloads, and of course I don't remember what I downloaded. I'm assuming it's Wood 4K PNG. Let me see. Color map. I'm just going to drop that to base color. And we'll wait. There we go. All right, well, that's cheesy enough, I guess. Move that here. And then just get our normal map. Oh, sorry. Again, this is our, remember our minimum setup? So add a node, add it's a vector normal map. Make sure your normal map is set to non-color, color to color, normal to normal. And you should see some grain elevation now. There you go. And if that's not enough, you can, that would probably be too tasty looking if we put on a plate, you know, that looks like raw bark. All right, and then here we're gonna add our roughness map. But you can't normally, don't plug this directly. You would put a color ramp right here. So you want a converter, color ramp. Again, we have videos for this. Roughness. And then you can decide how you want the shininess to be. There we go. All right. Anyway, let me go back to the real view right here, which is our EV, okay? And we have one light. Let me delete that light. Let's add some nicer lights here. So I'm gonna go to a modeling here. We get bigger view. Let's add an area light. Make it a little big. Bring it up a bit. Okay, I'm gonna backlight it with this. I'm going to increase the power of this area light, 10 watts to, let's say, 200 watts. More, 500 watts. There we go. All right, and then we'll add another one. Just going to get the same light, duplicate it, and point it this way. And let's go to our camera by pressing 0. I'm going to press N. It's Nancy right here. I'm going to go to View. Camera to view, so I can control this camera. And there's our nice kind of backlit cheese model out of Boolean operation. Okay? All right, so we're going to end the Boolean operation here.